Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo, the Monday after Thanksgiving, hence the wonderful, beautiful pumpkin pie from Mr. Chuck Daniels. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. It's good to see you. So, at Chapel Hill, our theme for Advent this year is Life of the Party. And it comes from a quote in this book, a series of articles that N.T. Wright wrote, in which he says this: the point of the Christian gospel is that in Jesus Christ, the true God invited himself to dinner and became quite literally the life and soul of the party, and now invites us to feast with him and to discover, by getting to know him, what a genuinely human existence, a life flooded with God's love and energy and wisdom, might start to look like in public as well as in private. And so we've been talking about that. What does that look like? God becoming the life of the party. And one of the things that I'm having the congregation do is take a look at some movie clips. Last week's movie clip was from the Chosen series, where Jesus shows up and actually he begins his public ministry to reveal who he is by the first miracle he did, changing water into wine at a wedding. God showed up at a public celebration, a normal life public celebration, a wedding, and that's where he first revealed who he was. That's what he talked about last week. The party is life. And in the life, God has said, I want you to party. And so he shows up at these things and it reminds us of who he is and who we are in him. But then I got to thinking about that quote. And what we had just last week at Thanksgiving. You know, God says, I'm going to show up at the dinner table. Last week at Thanksgiving, you may have had somebody show up that you didn't anticipate was going to show up. Or you may have had somebody show up who, well, you just never know what they're going to do. They're kind of unpredictable when they show up at the table. And that is for sure the way God showed up in this life and at our table. We had no idea what he was going to do, what he was going to say. Nobody knew what Jesus was up to. Even the disciples were always scratching their head wondering. But he showed up at life. He showed up at the party and became the life of the party. And it's the same today. When God shows up, sometimes we have no idea what's going to happen next. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe that's where wonder and joy and hope and faith come into play. Anyway, that's your mojo for this week. I'm going to add a little Ready Whip, cover up the beautiful flour here, and enjoy my piece of pumpkin pie. Have a great week.